So before we begin, I'm just going to say one thing. Pokemon has been a favorite of mine for a long time. The franchise is what got me started with RPGs in the first place. It's one of the most popular franchises owned by Nintendo by date. Ever since my playthrough of Scarlet and Violet, I've never seen Pokemon the same. The whole open world aspect and the time travel plot just got me hooked all the more. Made me have strange deja vu feelings when exploring the end game. The games as a whole really changed my perspective on how Pokemon games should be. All Pokemon has evolved so much over the years that the franchise has lost its original anime protagonist. That's right, Ash is no longer in the anime. And from what I've seen so far on the Japanese version of Horizons, it's getting rather dark for Pokemon. Even so early in the series, I haven't seen much yet, but I'm intrigued to see how the plot develops. Which brings me to the time when I was 9 years old and my cousin brought his Game Boy over and a copy of, you guessed it, Pokemon Red version. I asked if I could play, and he let me take a shot at it. Wound up deleting his save file, but I'd had fun and wanted to get my own copy. That is what got me into the franchise initially. The fact that all I had was an A64 meant that I had to get a copy of Pokemon Stadium to play the game on the GB Tower feature. Surprisingly, I completed the game with only one Pokemon. Overleveled Blastoise. Hey, how much of an ignorant bastard I was. Well, let's get started on the game. The game starts off with an entire speech from Professor Oak explaining the world of the game, how Pokemon are found literally everywhere, how they are usually kept as pets, or even competitive partners. But most of all, the professor asks for your name, and that's how you literally get named in the game. You can either choose a name from a list of predefined names, or you can choose to input a name of your own. For this LP, I went with the name Gold, which for some reason in this game is written in all capital letters. I don't get that, honestly. In the old games, all of the predefined names were spelled with all capital letters. It's like they are trying to emphasize the player's name. Well, whatever the case, I'm all with it. Well, with that being said, let's leap into the world of Pokemon where dreams and friendships await. Speaking of dreams and friendships, I'm already following a dream of mine and I made plenty of friends along the way. It started in 2015 when I was a fan of a YouTuber named Zephyr Sonic. Probably still around, but not that active. I was in one of his Skype group chats, where I met a group of YouTubers, those including Stormstriker SX9 and Mchan338, both relatively good YouTubers and friends of mine. Shout out to them. They are the ones that really inspire me to keep going on the path of video. I only found this platform whenever it was still new. Back then I got hooked on a video series by Master Link X, which was a comedic gameplay of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which was entitled Bloopers. After a bit I found out there was a long-running series of bloopers for a game called Super Mario 64. One of the first series I watched from those was a series by Starman3. Quite a controversial person to mention, but I don't want to go into detail. Let's just say we've talked, and things are better now since then, though. Back then I was really nervous on the whole YouTube thing. I wanted to make my own videos, but I had no idea on how to get started.